another point I've got down here is, do you think it's unrealistic to strive for equality for everyone to be included?
I don't think it's unrealistic because we're making steps in the right direction at the moment, because obviously, like 100 years ago, women couldn't vote. Just really simple stuff like that. We've come a long way since there, but there is still the issue of the pay gap, which I'm sure a lot of viewers are aware of. And like we need to sort that out. And like because of my degree that I'm doing in education, I'm seeing that there are a lot of there's an inequality there between teachers, because you've got a lot more female than male teachers, and that's something that needs to be addressed as well.
Do you not think women there are more women teachers because that's more of it's more of a sort of I'd say it's an easier environment for females to thrive in than it is for them to thrive, say, in the engineering sector. That's why men dominate those sectors and women dominate other sectors.
I see where you're coming from, but at the moment there are a lot. I don't know exactly how many women there are, but there are a lot of women going into engineering degrees. Whether or not they're completing them is another matter.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot more going in there, so it's sort of bringing that more to a level playing field. Whereas like it will still probably be dominated by men for a couple more years, but we need to get rid of the stigma of this is a men's degree, this is a women's degree. It shouldn't matter what gender you are, or anything like that. It shouldn't matter what you are. You should be allowed to do the degree you want, whether that would be engineering, mathematics, teaching, education. It shouldn't matter what you do, and there shouldn't be the stigma of only people of a certain gender can do this degree and go on to do this job.
But there's nothing stopping women going out and doing these degrees, apart from the fact that they are male dominated, and that can put them off sort of thriving in these industries. But I think they are more male orientated, and I've heard that in a lot of Scandinavian countries they've kind of pushed for this gender equality much more than any other country, and still they find women still go into more different roles to more feminine roles like teaching and areas where they can thrive more, and males still veer towards engineering and
you're always going to have people who go down the set paths, but you need to find that crossover point where you get quite a lot going down this degree. Like, people of our age, we should be able to choose what we want to do. We shouldn't think, society wants us to do this, and because this is specified as a feminine job or a masculine job, we need to go down that route. It shouldn't matter. We're in the 21st century now. We're in a century where, like, people thought we were going to have hovercars, stuff like that, and obviously that hasn't happened, but there are ways that we can get around it and, like, push people down. Well, not push them, but open doors for them to go down.
I personally think that these doors are open for people to go down them. It's just a matter of that. It's just a matter of that people adjusting to what the market wants. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, totally agree with that.
And you said about the pay gap, but personally, I think the statistics that are coming out of the pay gap are a bit. They don't take into account. It's not basing two people that are doing the same job, and it's not comparing those people's salary. It doesn't take into account females that are going on maternity leave, which is a massive factor for women, and women that want to have a family because they are more committed to the child than the male is, like, for natural reasons. Yeah, and that's I think the pay gap is, like, don't get me wrong, I know is discrimination within different workplaces, and that shouldn't exist. But at the end of the day, a lot of the better well-paid jobs like banking, accountancy, they are more male-dominated, and women can thrive in that, but they need to kind of adjust themselves to have more of a masculine. Because women with sort of more masculine traits like dominance and perseverance, kind of, they do tend to thrive in these environments, but when when it's like, oh no, we need to change the workplace so women that aren't as kind of driven in the masculine sense, they should thrive. But it's more of a fact of the person should adapt to the market rather than the market adapting to the person.
Yeah, it's like, if you look at politics, we've got Theresa May as our Prime Minister, and like she's doing a good job. Like, well, depending on who you ask. But if you look at how she's portrayed in the media, there was, what was it, a meeting between her and Nicola Sturgeon, I believe it was, a few years back. And rather than talking about the politics or how this was like a momentous occasion because it was two female leaders, they started talking about the clothes that they were wearing, which is a bit ridiculous because, I mean, just because it's for years had a male domination and still does at the moment, we should applaud the fact that we have females leading the country, because it's showing that females can do a job just as well as males can in a male-dominated environment.
No, definitely. I definitely agree that women can thrive in male-dominated environments, but it's just generally on the wide scale of things, females aren't kind of they have different traits to men.
Yeah.
That's like, you can't argue with that. And
there's something you can get around that. Women do have different traits to men. Well, there's nothing you can get around it. So I can understand why some jobs are more suited to each other.
Exactly. That's why I think when people are like, when people encourage, I don't know, because I know females do enter some of these workforces and then get pushed out to some degree because it doesn't suit them, but that's just them and then sometimes they realize their priorities in life, and a lot of women do tend to find taking care of their children more of a priority than their career, which they later do notice.